So today is Tuesday morning and I've just come back from teaching a Bible class at school. I missed last week because Lydia was sick, so somebody else just did it for me. So today we did the story of the Red Sea, which I talked about a few weeks ago because I was starting to read it to prepare for it. So that went well, and I was just going to share a few thoughts. I already shared the thought, if he leads you to it, he'll lead you through it. So I did that with the children as well, and I know that they're no new thoughts, but they're thoughts that I need to hear often because I'm just like the Israelites. Like when they got there and they saw the Israelites, they saw the Egyptians coming after them, they panicked. And there is a quote, I can't remember who says it, but it is, faith is a refusal to panic. And I think it's naturally what we do when something happens, like, like a crisis, or like they were trapped. They'd kind of got out of Egypt, everything was going well, and the next thing they've got a huge problem. They can't go forward, they can't go backward. And yet they don't need to panic because God already had planned everything. He already knew what was going to happen, and he already had a plan. And it's easy to forget that when things happen. I know I often do. You forget that God already knows exactly what's going to happen, and he already has a plan. He already has a way out or a way through. So it's good to remember that. And I said to the kids how God didn't think, oh no, I never thought of this, what are we going to do now? It never occurred to me that Pharaoh might change his mind. Like, God already knew exactly what was going to happen, and he was going before them. He was going to make a way. So I find it for myself important to remember that anything that happens, God is already ahead. He already knows the way. He's already planned it. I'm just making some of my favourite spaghetti sauce in the slow cooker. And another thing, I told the children how when the Egyptians came after them, how the Israelites, they did two things, it says in the Bible, and one thing was a good thing and one thing wasn't a good thing. So the first thing they did was they cried out to the Lord, and that is the right response to have when we come up against something hard or something we didn't expect, is to cry out to God. But then they went to Moses and kind of blamed him and told them that he shouldn't have brought them out of Egypt. They would have been much better off. He brought them here to die in the desert. So, what I saw in that was that they didn't have faith that God would bring them through it. They thought they would just, God had got them this far only to leave them and forsake them, and they were all going to die. And sometimes we can have those same fears that, God is going to forsake us, or like that he's not going to help us anymore. Like God might have already helped us so much, and then we're afraid it's going to all come to nothing and he's not going to help us anymore. But it's not necessary to think like that. Faith sees that God will help you through it, even though you don't have any clue how. And another thought is that the Egyptians, they just keep going after the Israelites. It just shows us how foolish it is to fight against God, to go against God. Even when God opened the Red Sea, they just went straight in after the Israelites. It wasn't until their wheels started getting stuck in the mud that they realized that God was helping the Israelites. And it just shows us how silly it is to fight against God, because of all the stories in the Bible, anybody who fights against God always loses. And we need to remember that if we're going to fight against God or what God wants to do in our life, we will be the loser. Whereas if we are like the Israelites and we are following God, then we will be the winners. And another thing, Moses told them to fear not. They didn't need to be afraid because God was going with them. And yet the Egyptians did need to be afraid because they were going against God. And so if we are following God like the Israelites were, we don't need to be afraid. But if we are fighting against God or going against God, going the wrong way, then we have great reason to be afraid. So that's another lesson to learn from the story. It's easy to think when we read the stories in the Bible that Israelites, that they're so pathetic, like they always complaining and never trusting God very much. And yet we can think like that until we come to our own opportunities to trust God are our own crises, our own challenges and problems, and then we can realize that it can be very hard to trust God, especially when it seems like there is no way. You know, like when we read the story about the Red Sea, we know how the story finishes. For them, they didn't know that. They'd never seen God open a Red Sea before. So we're not really any better than them. Well, maybe you are, but not me. So last night I read a song in a book. It's an old hymn and I know it well, but it really struck me because it kind of fitted in exactly with what I talked about yesterday about God looking after the Israelites at the Red Sea. And it is, God will take care of you. And it says, be not dismayed, whate'er betide, God will take care of you. Beneath his wings of love abide, God will take care of you. Through days of toil when heart doth fail, which is the Red Sea, God will take care of you. When dangers fierce your path assail, God will take care of you. No matter what may be the test, God will take care of you. Lean weary one upon his breast, God will take care of you. God will take care of you through every day or all the way. He will take care of you. God will take care of you.
It's Mummy, Daddy, Lydia. Lydia's playing the piano. No. That's Joseph, Esther, and that's Ernest. And his mum. He's trying to like what? That's Mummy, that's Lydia. Mummy's in the slippers. This is definitely not my room. Oh, it's cool toys, but let me see.